financial institution as the backbone of the championship. Well, of course, she definitely had good words to say, but then again, Clement also commended the president of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, NBBF, Engineer Musa Kida, for his leadership and for sustaining the robust partnership between the federation and the sponsor. She also lauded the contributions of match commissioners, referees, statisticians, and table officials, noting that their professionalism guaranteed smooth and fair competition throughout the Super 8. In addition, the organizing committee members, including Victor Okoro, Coach Yankee, Dr. Cholom Lomak, and Silafa Mohammed, receive recognition for their dedication to ensuring the seamless running of the tournament. Well, talking about the tournament, I can tell you that Dolphins women's basketball team coach Peter Akindele, yes, dedicated the 2025 NBBF Women's Super League to the team's founder, the late Wale Abodere. The team recorded a dramatic 61-55 overtime victory against former champions First Bank, and that was over the weekend in the Sports Hall of the Lagos National Stadium. Lagos, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the regulation time ended with scores of 15-13 in the first quarter, 18-17 in the second, 14-8 in the third, and 6-15 to reach a 53-53 deadlock. However, the Dolphins showed grit and composure in overtime to win 8-2 and secure historic victory. Mololoa Teogbade led the scoring for the new champions with 14 points, while Favor Anari and Gbemisola Samuel contributed 13 points each. For First Bank, Jessica Onaibe scored 13 points and Joseph Benson added 10. Dolphins defeated Abuja-based Royal Aces 66-54 in the semifinals, while First Bank ended 47-45. Yes, 47-45 victory over MFM. Well, former champions MFM secured third place with a commanding 70-42 win over Royal Aces of Lagos. Awele Oko of the Dolphins, well, she was named the MVP, yes, and led the top five alongside Tewogbade Molulua. Also, the Dolphins as the highest scorer. Bidemi Ogedengbe of Royal Aces was the highest rebounder, yeah. And of course, Pius Idubamo of MFM was the player with the most assists, while Hembam Wando of MFM as the player with the most three-pointers. The victory was their second league title since 2015. So shout out to Dolphins for making it happen and making sure that they were able to wrap up things, a victory in convincing fashion. Well, Akindele praised the players for their impressive performance while also dedicating the victory to Abodere. Well, of course, I can tell you that president of the team, Olumide Oyedeji, also credited the late Abodere for his role in building the team right there. The late Abodere, beg your pardon, invested a lot in the team, building a clubhouse and gym for the team before his demise on the 30th of May 2018. Dolphins went home with the ultimate prize money of 7.5 million naira. First Bank received 5 million naira, while MFM finished third and received 3 million naira, finishing in third position. Well, I can tell you that Dolphins and First Bank will represent Nigeria. Talking about Dolphins and First Bank, they will represent Nigeria in the zonal qualifying for the African Women's Basketball League, talking about 2025. So shout out to Dolphins for making it happen and making sure that they were able to win the Super 8 as far as basketball is concerned. So yes, they will be looking to see how they can represent Nigeria and also make sure that they represent well. First Bank as well will also represent Nigeria. Of course, Dolphins 7.5 million for finishing first in the Super A. First Bank 5 million for finishing second, while MFM received 3 million for finishing third. I wonder what Azu thought about the Super 8, talking about right there at the Indoor Sports Hall of the Lagos National Stadium. Yes, indeed. And of course, Dolphins making sure that they were able to win. But Azu, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
A bit tensed at this point.
I can understand.
Had to wiggle through that traffic, but it's great to be here.
Yeah.
Very nice. I'm a bit late. This is more than a bit. When you talk about the time left for basketball.
But better late than never, like they always say, you know.
Going straight up to the news I met you with, Dolphins winning that title. Yeah. It's a big one, and it's a huge plus for them. It's been 10 years they last did this, and getting back on it again is brilliant. They lost the owner of the basketball club, Aboderi, in 2018.
2018, yes.
That's about 3 years after they last won the title. And coming back to do it again after 10 years is just brilliant. And they played the same opponent 10 years ago, First Bank. They won that one 77-72. That was a 5-point win. Yeah. This time around, they won 65-61, 4-point win.
Yeah, so 61-55.
Very close battle. They went all the way down to fight this one out, and it was something that was tight that you never saw coming. It was overtime he actually went into, and they actually did as much as they could to do it in the last 5 minutes, 61-55. So that's about some beautiful basketball from these girls. When they want to play basketball, they do it. The last time they did it, I remember the likes of Amaka Wakama stopping the likes of Choma Odeaja in that era. That was the woman who went on to win the Afro Basketball in Nigeria one of those years. 6'3". She's taller than I am. She should be retired at this point in time. When we had the likes of big names playing in the Nigerian Basketball League, Ikechak actually playing for First Deep Waters. When they come on court for the Super 4, Super 8 in Lagos, you just knew that basketball was going to take over. But it was the brilliant stuff we saw on Saturday, where these girls came on and did what they had to do. And the MVP, you must give it to her. She held her own ground. Made sure that nothing was going to take that away from her. Awele Oko playing some good basketball, and alongside the likes of Teobade Mulolu, also a teammate of hers. She scored the highest points in the championship, Super 8. We also saw Bidemi Ogedembe from Royal Aces. They were beaten black and blue by MFM, but that didn't stop her from making it to the top 5 players in the just concluded Super 8. We also saw 2 players from MFM, defending champions. They couldn't defend this title, and they already showed signs from the first game we saw when they lost to the same Dolphins who went on to win the title. Hemban Wandu joined up, and that's the best 3-point shooter in the Super 8. And also saw Pius Iduma Balls of MFM come into that team. So it's a beautiful stuff we saw. Great basketball coaching. Improvement, in the court. I must talk about that. Where they do well, we have to give it to them. There's something Zenith Bank did differently this year, working so well with Weber, that builds and also refurbishes basketball stadiums and even sporting events for the Nigerian events that we have. It was really beautiful. You had to be at the national stadium to see what I'm talking about. And like I said, where they do well, we must give it to them. We must give it to them. And did so well as far as this is concerned. It was looking different.
Stakeholders are saying this is one of the best, not the best.
I tell you, the amount you also see the difference. That year I'm talking about, 10 years ago, it was 1.2 million. Now we have about 7.5 million. Yeah, we're not close to where we're supposed to be, but we must commend the improvements. The court was looking good. The sitting positions, the arrangement, the scoreboard. This time around, we didn't use cardboards and all like we did the last time. We must give kudos to them. But still 1 or 2 failures. I want us to just talk about the game itself before we go into that in a bit. But give it to what this team has done, and giving the most valuable player 500,000, which was what the third position team won 10 years ago, First Deep Waters. So, like I said, huge improvement from what we've seen in recent times. And you just imagine that we continued on that trajectory from 10 years ago to what we have now. Maybe we wouldn't be talking about Nigerian basketball on this level.
But the thing is, most of the time, we have this league, and then most of our players are not from the league; they're from abroad. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to get there. We had players playing from Benin Republic. Some of the top players in Benin Republic playing in the Nigerian league. I'm trying to remember her name, Kojo Nadege. I think that should be her name. One of the tallest basketball players in the Nigerian league. I think she was playing for Dolphins also, alongside the likes of Amaka Wakama. 2015 and 2016, she was in the league. Imagine that means we're having international players come play in the league. Uchema Odeaja I talked about played for First Bank almost all through her career, and she played in the Afrobasket and was one of the top centers we had in that team at that time. She dunked like with reckless abandon, and was part of that team from start to finish, even when Nigeria won that title again. So it's to show you that something happened. We lost consistency. That period when they started fighting for who's president and who's not, Musa Kida against the former NBBF president, we lost a lot.
Tijani Umar.
And he really affected our basketball. Till date, we've not gotten it right. I'm going to tell you the fact. It wasn't like we were up there at that time, but there was a movement. We're already getting some deals looking like the Nigerian Basketball League was going to get to that height. And you can see what the men are suffering today. Women even have a sponsor that have been there at least, you can say, for 10, 11 years, doing the same thing that they've always done. So you ask that question, why we don't have players from this league go on to play in the Nigerian women's national team, the Tigers. It's because of this consistency. If you're getting players from the diaspora like 3 or 4 and you have the remaining from the local front, then you think you're doing a good job, at least. Because you need some of these girls because of their experiences and the level and the kind of programs they have gone through from childhood. I remember watching one of the Ogumike sisters, the younger one, Chinai, speaking about the programs they met and why they didn't come to play for the Nigerian team at that time. And she had a strong point. Somebody wanted to say, oh, you guys are proud. Or you guys... No. Somebody asked me a simple question one day when we're talking about a football player, and he said, if now your brother, you go along, you go say me come play for Nigeria over England. Simple question. And that was the end of that conversation. If now your brother, you go say me come play for Nigeria. You didn't insult her now, say no, choose Nigeria over England. If now your brother, simple question he asked me, and I couldn't say anything again. So sometimes we all have to put ourselves in their shoes, where these people are coming from. You've been used to a particular level and they tell you to calm down, not because it's not available, but because we're not ready to do the right thing. And that's the problem we face them all the while. So give it to the girls and what they've been able to do. I was going to say something about where we faltered, and I think the outspokenness of some basketball lovers. I remember the former media officer of the Nigerian Basketball Federation, Oni, a friend of mine. He has been speaking, and people say this man is just fighting because he's no longer the media officer. I say, you might think that way, you might be correct, but let's look at it from the positive angle. Is he saying the truth? How come referees and some other guys who worked for the league the games to go on are being paid from a personal account? A particular woman has been disbursing funds. Imagine a referee working for, say, 5 days, and they're getting 100,000 naira altogether. A standard and a professional referee that has a family to feed, has transport to pay, has feeding to take care of, and has rent to also pay. This is what he or she does full time, and you're paying him or her 100,000 naira for 5 days. You might not get a picture of what I'm trying to say. The recent one also popped up with what I found out again, that 40,000 naira was given to some officials that worked for the same 5 days. I think these are guys who were taking care of the scoreboard. So I'll get that fact in a bit and also let you know.
But Azu, quickly now, let's talk about the rankings, of course, that were released. And Nigeria, 11 places under. We're now 53rd in the world. Meanwhile, the United States are still number 1 in the world of basketball, followed closely by Germany.
Please clear the air.
For the men. Yeah, for the men.
So it doesn't feel like we do all of these and nothing to show.
For the men, actually, not the women. The men, the rankings were released earlier today. USA number 1, Germany number 2, Serbia number 3, France number 4, Canada number 5, and of course Australia 6, Spain 7, Argentina 8, Lithuania 9th, and Brazil 10. But Nigeria 53rd in the world.
We're still within the century.
Yeah, but we can do better. I believe we can do better.
I just threw a jab in that sense. But like you said, we can do way better. Yeah. We shouldn't be where we are at this point in time. Talk about players who are just in the league alone, but you have to be realistic. If you talk about players who you know in the league at this point in time, playing that are homegrown, how many of them can you pick? The last time AfroBasket also showed that you cannot always do things with some fire brigade approach.
South Sudan are the highest African country.
Wonderful basketball team. Look at what they did at the Olympics.
In the world. Yeah.
Do they deserve it? Yes, they do. Wonderful basketball. They almost beat the USA.
Yeah.
That's how quality that team is at this point. And you must give it to a former player of the same nation. He didn't have the opportunity to do it for the nation. But when Luo Dieng saw that I'm done with the Chicago Bulls, he went back there and started developing basket. They were not even playing some of the games at home. There was war and all, but he did as much as he could to groom those boys. And look at the top 10. Malwak, the young man that was just drafted. He's playing for the national team. He couldn't make it to this Afro basket. Maybe one of the reasons they didn't do so well. Look at what that young man did in the Olympics. That's what we call progression. Guys who are ready to sacrifice their hearts. I can mention some names that I'm really angry with. But they are making if they talk about the top names in Nigerian basketball now, you'll mention some of these guys. But they are actually killing our basketball in Nigeria. We know the facts here, but we just keep quiet sometimes because
how
we don't want to start sounding harsh because we don't have those papers in our hands.
What's the right way to go? Because we'll come and say, we keep talking about these things. But again, South Sudan in basketball, they shouldn't be ahead of Nigeria, not with the stars that we
Chuma, they should be ahead of Nigeria.
Factually.
Overdose. I'm used to seeing Chuma right here, don't mind.
Of course.
So, I am saying they should be ahead of Nigeria, deservedly. You could say they shouldn't be ahead of Nigeria based on what we know, what we've seen from Nigerian basketball. I mean, if you talk about top 10 basketball players in the basketball history of NBA, you'll be mentioning, or top 20, you're mentioning Akeem Olajuwon. That's how good Nigeria. And he grew up right here before he left for the years. Not like he was born over there. I had to bring that fact just to let you know how much you've got as far as basketball is concerned. But when you have a cap and there is no head. See, so many times I've gone on Facebook and I've had issues with veteran basketball pundits, writers, and they say, young man, you shouldn't be talking like this. These guys are trying. Okay, they are trying. Why is it not working? Some of them even still tell me to my face, these men are spending their money to help Nigerian basketball. If I should be spending my money, I should quit. If I'm not getting anything from it. I'm still fighting to go for another term, or I add some other years to it. See, I'm not going to go into all of those conversations this time. Why am I still there if I am spending my money, if nothing is coming out of it? Is it just to be a figurehead leader? Let's see. Chuma, Overdose. Listen to it from this point. I am spending my money to help the team travel, to fund the team and all. Great stuff. If I do it once or twice, what should happen next? Should I still go ahead if nothing is coming out of it? See, I'm just being as open and as factual as I can be. I might be wrong. I'm not saying this to hunt anybody. I said it earlier when we joined the administration of Musa Kida from the start. Man, I was always at the stadium seeing how these boys were coming. New courts, stores were brought in. We were singing praises on this same show. This show is over 10 years now. This show is over 10 years. I've been doing this right here for over 10 years. So I'm not speaking based on talking from two sides of my mouth. We don't come here because we need money. We do this because we love this game. So if we do this because we love this game, it doesn't now mean that when things don't go right, we put some things aside. I was talking about the statisticians earlier. They got 40,000 naira for 5 days. That means they couldn't get up to 10,000 naira per day. And you go check who is paying them this money. The sponsors release the money and it's being paid by an individual. That was the same thing that was happening to the payment of the teams. We would not have had 7.5 million. I can bet you. We would not see, I'm telling you the fact, Chuma. Overdose. Now check why somebody is still paying some of these monies. It's not because people came out to speak. It's not because we have shows like this to speak. Some of these things would not have been sorted. So, like I said earlier, it's beautiful that this is happening. We shouldn't always have it good, even when we're not doing right. Look at the female team. They are 8 on the log at this point, as far as the world rankings is concerned. Top 10. USA, Australia, France, China, Belgium, Spain, Canada, then Nigeria. Now imagine that we're doing things right 100%, or at least 50-60%. Shuma, we're nowhere doing things right. These girls are just playing their hearts out. They don't want to see themselves as losers.
Let me take this one. This one says, Overdose and Azubike Onicha, South Sudan will be ahead of Nigeria because of good planning and organization. Our basketball needs improvement, resources, and the right people. Yeah, that's what he says. All right. Thank you so much. Well, 99.3 Nigerian field is still courtside. And there are rumors, I don't know. Well, you could say there's no smoke without fire, but there are rumors that LeBron James might just retire anytime soon.
I think he'll play one season.
One more season?
I think at least he'll play one season.
Well, I don't know.
He really want to have that time with his son.
Yeah, I mean,
realistically,
LeBron has been the face of the NBA since he joined the league in 2003. Now he's 40 years old, and there are rumors about his retirement and when he will retire. They've been circulating for the better part of a decade. James has shown no signs of slowing down and recently revealed some shocking details about his plan to retire. And that was 360 on a podcast, Speedy Mormon's podcast 360 with Speedy. Mormon prompted James by recognizing that he's entering his 23rd year. He's starting to play gold. He's releasing the 23rd version of his signature shoe and that he's on King Tour. But then LeBron James said retirement is coming. I don't know. How soon do you think he will retire?
Maybe one more season. LeBron James have a bad time last time. It's like saying Cristiano Ronaldo will retire next season. Or this season in football. Or after this season, rather. So you get like that's the same way it is. He might not be giving you all of those runs, but that man is still dunking.
Yeah.
He's still dropping assists. He's still playing team basketball. He's still scoring 20 points plus every single game. So LeBron James will play at least one more season.
One more season, Azu. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. The Ballon d'Or is today. Who will win the Ballon d'Or? Well, we'll cover that one for you. Plus all the highlights from the weekend as we step into the world of Game On. Did I hear Victor Osimhen? Yeah, maybe one day, hopeful I am. But we got to go pay the bills. When we come back, it will be Game On and we'll go straight into it right here on Nigeria Info.
Yeah. You are listening to your number one station for talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates